just for all transparency's purposes, I shouldn't be giving this presentation today. It should be Paul McCormick. But Paul made the selfish choice of not coming to the conference and instead going over to Dubai to see his daughter, who just had a grandchild. So, in all fairness, he should be here. So apologies if it's not going to flow at the level that I would normally associate. I'll give myself a bit of credit that I can do these presentations with, but obviously the subject matter came at me quite quickly. I was part of the paper, but Paul will be the overall kind of coordinator for the project and for the BIM EPA, and he would be able to kind of advance on more. So please bear with me with this. I'll try to do my best. You see some kind of figures here. I think we're sick to death of seeing these figures. I think we get it. I think we understand how bad we are as an industry. You can add on other ones there that we have 40% global greenhouse gas emissions. We have 40% resource usage, 40% waste. The construction sector is a serial player in regards to waste, carbon, climate. We are at the forefront, along with the farming industry as well, in regard to the impact that we're having on the environment. And in that regard, there has been a number of different initiatives put forward. And these initiatives have been based around the challenge of how can we upskill and reskill Europe's workforce effectively in order to bridge the gap of talent that will grow ever larger as we scale up to meet the challenge of a growing economy. So this isn't an Irish thing, this is an EU-based thing. So the EU have looked and said, okay, how do we do this? How do we target the SMEs? How do we target those people that don't want to go to college, those people that haven't been to college, that have no interest in it? How do we manage to start to drive on this initiative and get people to a level we need them to do, so they understand the impact they're having on the environment and how to change it? And in regards to the EU, they have had a number of different initiatives out there. One of them is the Energy Skills Agenda, which was up to 85 billion in investment. The Just Transition Mechanism, which was another 55 billion. They have obviously reviewed the European Building Directive, the Renovation Wave as well. There's funding behind us on the Build Skills, which has been there since 2011, which has been targeted at trying to upskill people and find new competencies. Further ones, like Horizon 2020, which is the project that we've been involved in, and also the Life version of Horizon Life, which is obviously targeting additional skills. So there's been money thrown at this and pumped around from the EU, and it is a significant target of trying to kind of focus on addressing these issues. Some of the things that came back from recent European Observatory reports includes that there is, we need to train professionals at all levels. There's an increase in recognition and demand of skills, and we need to feed into long-term policies. And we need to update existing pre-dated qualification frameworks. We need to look at ways of kind of having an open kind of system. How do we kind of ensure, working outside our consistent CPD kind of regulations, and even what we have in place in regards to the third level national quality frameworks. What can we do in order to create a passport maybe that we can kind of transfer our skills from one jurisdiction across to another? And I think that's what we were trying to look at with the project that we're involved in, is creating an EU recognised passport of skills. That you obviously can kind of use this as a way to understand that you have the particular skills, as you transfer from jurisdiction to jurisdiction. This is where the BIM EPA came in. The BIM EPA, ultimately it was a brainchild. I think Paul was one of the kind of key people behind it. And there was a number of Horizon 2020 projects ongoing at the same time, doing similar deliverables. Some of them included BIM Cert, BIM Met, BIM Implement, BIM SED, and Net UBIP. So I know, Liz, you're down there. Liz was heavily involved in this BIM EPA as well as a lot of stuff going down in Limerick. So what we all did was we came together under this umbrella called the BIM Performance Alliance. And the idea was that we would kind of create a single resource where we could kind of share each other's resources and work together in order to kind of drive on this initiative. And some of the key things or the specific focuses included improved achievement of energy targets and savings, cross-project dissemination and communication, connected recognition, expectation of the output from previous projects, and identification of an action toward future collaborations. So what happens with a lot of these EU projects is that sometimes when you get to the end of their life, they're hard to drive on because the funding drives up. So you might apply for additional funding and it might not be there. So it's kind of down to the organisation to evolve to drive them on. And that might not be an option because the resources might not be there. With the BIM-EPA, what we were able to do was look at different solutions, different calls, and try and utilise this training platforms, this training material, and bring it, kind of harness it and bring it forward. And that's what we've done in one of the projects, which was a call from the EU. So ultimately, what we were trying to do is look at more agile learning techniques, reimagining the skill systems, increase female participation, and as well as enhance school leavers and new entrants. So not that much, to be honest with you, but you kind of we had a wide breadth of what we were trying to achieve and what we're still trying to achieve and what we will be trying to achieve for a substantial period of time. One of the things that we bid for and we were successful was the Arise. The Arise project is a revolutionary learning process where we're aiming to change the face of delivery and inspire sustainability energy skills. I think the word revolution, Paul put these slides together, so I think the word revolution, I'm not a fan of it. I think it kind of promises too much. But what we're trying to do is put an additional swing on it in terms of try to look at different aspects of how we can kind of get the sustainability skills across to the masses. So ultimately, the methodology is that we are looking at establishing a platform quite similar to existing projects, working across and creating a learning-based competency framework, which is more based on competencies per profession than actual kind of, let's say, outputs in awards. So we'll kind of have learning outcomes based on the competencies associated with professions. Further to that, where I suppose the unique part of it is that in order to validate this and in order to kind of look at a different way of working outside the accreditation per se, we're looking at a blockchain solution. So we have a partner in the development of blockchain which will underpin the learning, and through that we're trying to develop a cryptocurrency that will work in tandem with that. So for every unit of skill you develop, you'll get an associated AEC coin, BIM coin, whatever, cert coin. There's kind of been different phrases. I think the one we kind of settle on is cert coin, but that's where we're looking at and that's what we're trying to develop. And each partner has their own role in it, and that's what they're trying to develop. So our partner from Denmark and our partner from Belgium are the ones working on the blockchain solution. So just kind of a little bit more in here, the aim is to be bite-sized learnings. Go as you learn, a gamified platform. So we're really trying to kind of look at a different way, and all of these are underpinned to sustainability learning outcomes. So where we are at this moment in time is we have the platform developed, we have the learning material imported, we developed the additional learning outcomes. We went through all the partners' learning material, we reviewed it, we'd updated it where required, and now we're ready to kind of launch it and kind of start testing it. So Arise is aiming to deliver new skills in a new way to empower the construction sector. These digital tools are enabling users to create new interfaces, exchange and engagements. And like all sectors, we're facing a skill shortage. So this is a way of trying to address that. Where TU Dublin have come involved is that we're responsible for the development of the material associated with the project. So the first thing that we did, my colleague and myself, Ryan Dempsey, was we looked across what methodologies were being used across the sector, what materials, what common deliverable tools, and what common assessment methods in the area of sustainability, in the area of blockchain, in the area of BIM. And with the three of them, we were able to come up with a kind of generic framework that would constitute the best approach in all of these areas to satisfy the learning outcomes that we put up there. We looked across all of our partners, BIMSED, NET, UBAP, BIMCERT, took all the learning content, as I said before, and brought it back into the Arise learning platform, updated, aligned to new learning outcomes, aligned to a new framework, and ready to go. So the whole idea was to use what we had, not to kind of redevelop the wheel here. There is probably there's a lack of promotion out there, a lack of understanding of what's out there. Go to the Arise webpage afterwards, go to the NetUBIP, BIMSED. They're all terrific resources that are crying out to be used, okay? So have a look at them all, and you'd be absolutely amazed at what's available to you right now. So this is something I deal with the platform, a couple of the modules that we're developing, dimensions, BIM fundamentals, benefits, terms, definitions. So, each one of them would have learning outcomes developed within them that would be mapped to competency. So we'll be aimed to kind of try and get across to the architects, to the clients. I think at this stage, being realistic, the funding for this project is 1.2 million. 1.2 million sounds a lot, but in the grand theory of funding, it's really not. There's very minimum that you can do with this in terms of the long term. So we will develop a portion of what we're saying and obviously put version 2 out, hopefully, for additional funding. So, and that's the thing with the funding. When you break it down and every kind of, different partner takes kind of some additional monies to kind of cover overheads, and then you're looking at what you have left then from a perspective to kind of actually run the project from feet in the ground, you start to see that, things aren't as wonderful as what they look. So just a couple of takeaways. Skills are the instrument of connection. They matter. Design, development, delivery, universal interconnected curriculum, enabling learners to engage in a cycle of participation. It's open learning as fast as we can have it. So we're trying to have an open learning system underpinned by blockchain. And I know someone's going to ask me how the blockchain solution's working. I just know that's a question from the audience. I have an answer, but I don't know if it's right. So I'll leave that there as a possible question. Clean energy transition requires innovative solutions, which we're doing here as well. And the Arise, we're working to create a better skill system. As I said, this was a lot more jazzier, a lot more text, a lot more to it if Paul was here, but I just took a lot out because I'm not Paul. So I hope I was able to get across the point. Thank you.